podcast where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Merris, for it is a Merris Monday.
Hello.
Though we are recording this on a Saturday.
It's a lie.
It's all lies.
Not Merris Monday at all.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy.
It is.
Yeah.
We'll cover it on a different episode anyway.
So everyone really enjoyed our latest feature, which is we pick a state and we pick a cryptid. So please keep the suggestions coming in. I won't be doing that today. But trust me, you'll like today's episode. It's stupid.
Oh, good.
We're going to be talking about gnomes. Sorry.
Gnomes?
Gnomes.
Yeah.
Is the proper pronunciation.
Right. No, it's not. Just
No.
Okay.
We're going to talk about two gnome cases.
Oh.
The Porterville gnome and the Wollaton Park gnomes.
Plural.
Oh, there's at least 60 gnomes in this one.
Oh, wow.
That's so many fucking gnomes.
Counted them.
Yes, they did.
Oh.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. So when I think of gnomes, I typically think of a little feller with a pointed red hat and rosy cheeks who likes gardens.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
There was a cartoon in the 90s called David the Gnome, if you remember, Merris.
No, not at all. I didn't watch that.
Oh, man. And David was a doctor who had a wife and went on pastoral adventures.
That sounds nice.
It was a very wholesome cartoon. I'm going to link the opening theme, which is ridiculous. He rode on a fox.
Okay.
He fought trolls, and he helped animals in peril.
Sounds good.
Yeah. David was a cool dude.
Yeah.
Very friendly. He had a beard and whatnot. He was like a very tiny Santa Claus.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tiny.
But that's not an accurate portrayal of gnomes at all.
This is gnome propaganda?
It is. And you may say, well, Lillian, gnomes aren't fucking real, you idiot. But they are.
Yeah, says you, person who said that.
Yeah, because here on Merris Monday, we believe in every ridiculous thing.
Hell yeah.
Unicorns?
Yes.
Vampires?
Why not?
Hornlight?
Horn light.
So gnomes don't seem like that big of a stretch considering the weird shit we've researched and that has landed us on many lists.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, shout out to the FBI.
And the CIA.
Right.
And the NSA.
Who's ever listening?
Yeah, eat my ass. Okay.
Join our Patreon.
The least you could do.
The least you could do, FBI guy.
I mean, you're not getting all the secrets.
Right.
Exactly. So the oldest recorded accounts of gnomes comes from Germany and like Nordic countries. And they weren't the cute little garden statues, but malevolent little turds that lived in rocky places.
Germany for the gnomes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The word gnome comes from the Greek word genomos, which means earth dweller.
Sounds Greek, I guess.
It does.
Oh.
Now, some stories show them being as protectors of crops and plants in general, friend of the forest critters, but most stories don't paint them in such a cottagecore light. They were also said to protect treasure, much like a leprechaun,
Or dragon.
but less Irish and Bernie.
Or lizardy, okay.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. This is where most of the mean gnome stories come from, is from like the Nordic countries. They're kind of like based off of dwarves. Yeah.
Dwarfs.
Fun fact, in ancient Rome, we see the first statue of a garden gnome.
Wow, that is a long-ass time ago.
Yes, it was a statue to a minor fertility god who protected crops and livestock and was marked by his enormous constant boner. Just his big phallus.
His big gnome wiener.
It's awful. The Norse dwarves lived in the earth and tricked people and murdered them. They fiercely guarded their treasure hoards. And these stories evolved over time to where you saw the little people, the wee folk, becoming almost like nature spirits who loved plants and animals, but didn't really like people very much. You see this in the Renaissance in Italy.
Gnomes?
Yes, where they were referred to as elementals, which is nature spirits.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because the Renaissance was kind of a boom in sort of a more new agey spiritual feel. Yeah, and it was, I mean, they were still very Catholic and all. But they got weird with it. They got weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, on occasion you'll read stories about brownies who were fairies that helped with household chores, but most of the time gnomes were grouchy, small, ugly assholes.
I think that's what the Girl Scouts were named after, the brownies.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I
think
just made
so.
that up.
Did you just make it up?
Yeah, well, I just thought it was
sounds legit.
named after the dessert, but I was like, what if they're named after the gnomes?
It would make sense. So, despite this reputation, having a garden gnome statue in your yard or garden was thought to bring good luck. In the 19th century, a sculptor named Philip Grabel in Germany made the first garden gnome statue. Yeah.
All right. Shout out to that guy.
Thanks, Phil. One of which is still around today, and his name is Lampy.
Lampy.
I don't know why.
I love it.
Anyway, they were brought to England where they became insanely popular, and now you see them in old lady gardens everywhere.
All right.
When Lillian was a teenager and a miscreant, me and my friends would go around and steal them.
Yeah.
Then we'd take them to a field and shoot them with guns.
Not nice.
No. History out of the way. Let's talk about these real life gnome encounters.
These nomenclatures.
Get out. Stupid what you said doesn't even make sense.
No.
So I'm going to start with my gnome encounter first.
Oh.
Because I had one.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen a fucking gnome, and no, he was not nice or cute. So I was around 11 or 12, and I was sitting in our den area that was right off the kitchen. There was a big picture window that looked out into a little garden that had some flowers and a dogwood tree. I was watching TV and I saw something move out of the corner of my eye. It was small and brown, and I thought it was a rabbit or, some cute critter. And I love cute critters, so I looked. And there, instead of a rabbit, was a little fat man with brown skin and brown dirty clothes. He was balding and very sweaty. He was only about 2 feet tall, and he was like digging furiously in the garden and just chucking wads of dirt everywhere. I was amazed. I was delighted. Because, I've always believed in fairies and shit like that. So, here is one. And he is in the garden. It doesn't matter he's an ugly little shit. I was like, look at the magical creature, you know? And so I very carefully, crept closer to the window, and I tapped on it to get his attention. Because I wanted to say hello. And he was so mad. Just completely pissed off. He went all red in the face and started pelting the window with tiny handfuls of dirt, stomping his little foots. And like a hobbit, he had kind of big feet, disproportionately big feet. And this amused me further, so I started laughing. But he bared his teeth at me, and they were all jagged and pointy. And he looked at me with such boiling rage that it actually made me a little scared. And then the angry asshole, garden-destroying gnome, disappeared.
Yeah.
Guess who got blamed for the garden?
Yeah.
Me. That's right.
I remember another one from when we lived here in Arkansas, and you saw...
Yes, I'm about to tell
Oh, you're
that
going to tell
one.
that story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I feel like it's a different creature. They're similar.
Yeah.
And I think this story, the Porterville gnome, is actually what this is, what I'm describing. So we hadn't lived here very long at all. I would say it was spring or summer. So we'd only been here a few months, maybe 6 to 8 months. And some people had moved in a couple houses down, and they had a whole slew of kids. And I had pulled into the driveway. It was really late at night. I think we'd just come back from our fucking janitor job where we were scrubbing goddamn toilets. And underneath this street light right in front of their house.
It was one of those orange street lights.
Yeah, those really yucky ones.
Yeah.
I saw a little man.
Yeah.
And he was it was hard to see him. I couldn't really make out facial features or anything, but he was doing a crazy, jerky little dance. And he probably was about 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
But he had a red hat on. Not a pointy, tall hat, but just a red cap. Yeah. And then he disappeared.
Yeah.
And I Googled it, and those are called red caps. And it's a type of fairy that dips its hat into the blood of the children it kills and eats.
Yeah. And it appeared in front of a house that had I think they had 5 kids at the time.
Yeah, a bunch of little biddies, too. They were all really young. And so that really freaked me out. And I think that this is what this story is, the Porterville gnome. So we'll talk about that. This is in Porterville, California. A woman who only goes by Tammy because she doesn't want people to make fun of her for this ridiculous story reported that she moved to a rural farmhouse with her 3 children in 2004. Almost immediately after moving to the 100-acre property, she said she felt like she was being watched all the time, even when she was by herself. Because when you have kids, you do feel watched all the time. Good luck even taking a shit by yourself. She had a terrible sense of ominous dread, especially when she went near the barn, which was towards the back of the 100-acre property. All the animals in the barn were constantly getting spooked by something. Then, some of the animals that stayed in the barn inexplicably went missing without a trace. So Tammy explained this away as like maybe coyotes or the animals just ran away. You know, she wanted to be a logical person. But one day, after returning from a trip to town, she parked her car and went to get her groceries, and she had her young son with her helping. When she went to the trunk to unload her groceries, she saw something out of the corner of her eye, like some movement. Mm-hmm. And she turned to look, nothing. But then, like, when she went back to get her groceries, she heard a really sinister laugh.
Right.
And so she looked again, and then she saw it. A 3-foot-tall man with a pointy red hat, baggy, like, dark maroon pants, and a gold shirt. It was staring at her son with dead, beady black eyes.
No, that's spooky, yeah.
It had a hideous mouth that spread into a wide grin with jagged, discolored teeth, and it began to laugh in a very evil sort of way.
What a dick.
Right? Tammy dropped her groceries, bodily grabbed her kid, and ran into the house, just scared to death. But once inside, they weren't safe. The gnome kept passing by the windows. Mm-hmm. Now, her windows were about 8 feet off the ground. Mm-hmm. And if the gnome was only about 3 feet tall, with the hat included, she shouldn't have been able to see the tip of the hat.
Right.
So this implied, and it was moving really fast. That thing was flying around the perimeter of the house.
Just to scare her.
Just to scare
yeah.
her. Yes. It either hovered or it grew in size. Don't know.
Right.
So this was her only direct sighting of the evil gnome, but anytime she was near the barn, she'd hear that evil laugh. She would feel watched. There was poltergeist type activity in the house, footsteps running around, you know, that sort of thing. Finally, Tammy said, fuck this, and moved. She only lived there about 5 years. But the weirdness followed her. Mm-hmm. And to this day, she thinks the gnome is like haunting her.
Yeah.
She also later found out the previous family that lived on the 100-acre like farm had also sighted the mean-ass gnome. Mm-hmm. So the next family that moved into the house did so in 2011. It was the Thomas family. The matriarch of the family, named Charlie, said that her family heard singing and ominous chanting outside the windows at night. Mm-hmm. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
And she described the singing itself as sort of a gargling, rasping singing.
I'm not going to try to imitate that.
Oh, hell no.
Nuh-uh.
Charlie also felt the ominous presence in the barn.
Yeah.
So much so they wouldn't let their dogs go out there.
Right.
One day, she was looking out the window, like in the direction of her. She had dug a little koi pond for her, like koi fish, and she had decorated the outside with statues of garden gnomes.
That probably pisses him off, I bet.
It fucking did.
Oh, dang, what happened?
As a matter of fact,
yeah.
This gnome is such a dick. Okay, so she looks out there. She sees the same awful gnome with the baggy pants, the red hat, and the bushy beard and evil teeth.
Yeah.
It knew she was looking at it. And it grabbed one of the little garden gnomes. It was kind of like molesting it.
That's weird and
perversely.
Fucked up.
I know.
Ugh.
It was like, gnome. And it was like grabbing it all suggestively. And she thought she had lost her mind.
Yes.
Then it like chucked the gnome.
Yeah.
And it reached into the pond, grabbed a fish.
Yeah.
And started just eating it alive, all crazy.
Gross.
Yeah.
Chill out, gnome.
So Charlie yells for her husband, and he rushes outside, and he's like, go on, get out of here. Go on, get.
Hit it with like a chair or something, like a WWE.
He felt crazy because it shouldn't exist.
I would try to stomp the gnome.
The little gnome now got fish gore all over its face, starts laughing at him and like grabbing its crotch.
Punt it like a football.
Oh, I'd kick it right in the fucking crotch, as a matter of fact. And then, as it's laughing and being rude, it flips him off.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that part got me.
I'd laugh. I mean, it's just really... And then you got to punt it like a football.
And then it ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ran up to the pond, and sure enough, there was tiny little child-sized footprints all around the pond. Lots of them, like it had been there before.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Charlie was just dumbfounded. And her and her husband talked about it.
It's so funny. I'm sorry to these people.
I know.
It's just hilarious in every way.
You just hear like, eat shit, you know.
Beer, and it's just like flipping you off.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Fuck you, bear.
Yeah.
I made the dog bark.
Frequently, she would see the goddamn gnome at her little fish pond. It got to the point it ate all of her fish, and if she restocked it, it would eat those too.
Do you think it peed in there?
Oh, no, I was about to say it would urinate in there.
Look, I'm psychic or something.
You are. Maybe you're a gnome. I mean, you're ill-tempered and short.
No.
You do wear baggy pants. Where's your hat, Merris? Where's your pointy red hat? You have a beard.
Fuck off.
See? Yeah.
I'm a gnome.
But so she would look out there, and it would like hump her gnomes and like push them into the pond.
I would keep... I just am so delighted. I would invite the gnome back and keep having this happen.
It started vandalizing the little statues.
I love that.
I know.
I want to put some gnome statues out to see if we... Wait.
Really? You want to encourage that kind of shit?
We got man-face cat.
We do have the cat with the face of a man.
Yeah.
Paul, as I call him. Yeah. It would just... And like it would stare at her and her husband and laugh and make rude gestures. Mm-hmm. And then one day, while she's looking out there and it's molesting one of the gnome statues, she has this sudden horrible thought.
Just spray it with a hose.
No. The sudden horrible thought is that she had just installed a doggy door that day, and that little shit could get in there. It was the right size. And like they had a psychic moment. And then I was like,
it's coming in there.
I'm coming.
So did it? Did it run in there?
Like a little mean Danny DeVito. Yeah, and he's already small. And so, yeah, it ran around the side of the house. And then the dogs are going nuts in the kitchen, like barking at the doggy door, all maniacally and insane. So the husband rushes outside, and it's zooming around the house. It is flying around the house.
Well, yeah, we
literally.
already know it can go up to the windows.
It went up to the window where her twin, like, infants were sleeping in their cribs, and it's like, in the window.
I feel like I just couldn't help be delighted, even if he's rude and terrible.
Yeah. Immediately that day, they never returned to that house. They're like, fuck this. They sell it? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd buy that gnome house.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime you talk about stories like this, you always hear like people say, well, just move.
They did.
Well, they did.
Yeah,
so no criticisms there.
Right.
So this next story comes from one of my favorite YouTubers, Shrouded Hand. And I will link his channel. I just really like all of his stories. And this story takes place in the city of Nottingham in the UK.
This is Robin Hood land.
Clearly. Yeah. Where's the sheriff?
Right.
See, maybe if Robin Hood had fucked him, he could have gotten out all this trouble. That's my answer to everything. That's the fan fiction I'm writing.
Okay, yeah.
And it's on the grounds of a beautiful mansion or castle thing or whatever, I don't know, called Woollerton Hall. And it was built in 1588, and it looks like a castle to me, but what do I know? Mm-hmm. It was in the movie The Dark Knight Rises. It was used for Bruce Wayne's family home.
Okay, so it's big and scary.
It's big and scary. Now, the gnome doesn't bother with the mansion, but the 500-acre gardens and grounds the mansion is on. And this all started on the 23rd of September 1979. Little Lillian had only been in the world for 20 days. Maybe it all began with my birth. I am the bringer of gnomes.
That's your title?
Yes.
Okay, I'd go with something cooler or something.
I don't give a shit. I'm not cool, and I'm not going to try. So 6 kids had come to the park to be assholes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Indeed. They were up to no good, and they were wandering around being kids. Most of Woolington Park is open to the public these days, and was back then too, but there were some spots that are off limits for conservation purposes. Of course, the kids weren't content with all the hundreds of acres they were allowed to be in. No, these little shits wanted to go to a place called the Swamps, which was thick with brush and boggy.
Sounds swampy.
Indeed. It was a perfect place for evil gnomes, honestly.
Yeah. And swamp gnomes.
Swamp gnomes. As the kids passed by the swamp, they noticed a bunch of little men behind the fenced-in area that were hiding in the bushes, and they were described as having scraggly beards, brightly colored motley attire, and pointy gnome hats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they short?
Yes.
Okay.
The kids watched these little fellers who were only 2 to 3 feet tall. One of the gnomes came out of hiding, going through a hole in the fence, and he made some strange gestures. I'm going to guess they were perverse and rude, because these things are little perverts.
I'm a big gnome fan now.
Yeah. And, like, he did it to the children, like, hey, fuck you, kids. And then he scampered back into the brush.
Right.
Then they heard mocking laughter coming from high above them, and when they looked up into the trees, there were just a shit ton of gnomes up there.
I love it. I need to go there now.
And because kids have no goddamn sense, they decided to climb the fence and go into the swamp to get a better and closer look at the gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did they ever come out?
This next part's so fucking stupid. Yes, in a very stupid way.
Okay.
The gnomes seemed to be luring them deeper into the swamp, retreating further into the bushes as the kids followed until the gnomes utterly disappeared. A very short while later, the gnomes emerged from the bushes driving little go-kart type vehicles.
They got ATVs.
Yeah, that made no sound, and they had weird little triangle-shaped lights.
I love gnomes now.
Each go-kart had 2 gnomes in it, and there were 30 go-karts. That's 60 gnomes.
That's an army.
And they all started chasing the children while laughing at them.
They're little asshole golf carts.
Yeah. One of the kids went headlong into some mud as they fled, and the gnomes just kept chasing them all the way to the entrance of Woolington Park. And the kids were trying to get out, but the gate was locked. And they're trying to scale the fence, but it's like too high, so they're like falling down and they're screaming.
The movie in my
freaking
head
out.
is very good.
Man, it is fantastic. They're peeing their pants in my brain. The weird go-kart gnomes are getting closer. One of the dumbass children finally figured out how to pry the gate open, and all the kids spilled through it, desperate to get away from the evil little gnomes. The gnomes remained inside the park. It seemed like they were unable to follow, or they just didn't want to. When the kids went home, some of them told their parents, who of course were like, fuck off, mate.
Did you smoke the devil's lettuce? Like,
yeah. And these are like 10 to 11-year-olds by the way.
Still, you could be, yeah.
However, when the kids went to school the next day and told all their pee-pants friends, everyone was super into the story, and there was a big kerfuffle about it at school.
Okay.
So much so that the excitement and chatter like made it to the headmaster's office of the school.
That there's a fucking gnome army with little ATVs.
Yeah. These gnomes are on the loose. So he questioned the children and found that he believed them. He just
Is everyone stupid over there?
Oh, England.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
What is going on?
So, yeah, to him they seemed sincere. He didn't believe it was gnomes. He just thought they saw something weird and called it gnomes.
Right.
And then he got the kids to draw the gnomes, and he recorded the interviews. Now, there's no copy of the recording today, but there are transcripts, and I will link those as well as the drawings on our Patreon in a public post. So that means you can read and look at pictures without having to be a Patreon member, though you should be, because that's the nice thing to do.
Right. As we said in the beginning, everyone should be a Patreon.
Even the
including
FBI.
the FBI that is listening to this podcast.
And the
right
aliens.
now. Yes.
Aliens, be a Patreon member. I'll fuck
take
you
your
up.
alien Bitcoin. I don't know what they got.
They probably don't have money.
We'll figure it out, aliens. God.
Well, you have... Okay, you can travel interdimensionally. Can you, like, zippity-zap somebody's Scrooge McDuck money hoard into my house?
Yes. I think
only
that
fair.
you should, yeah.
So these weren't very consistent accounts, though, because kids are dumb. The phenomena I would like to point out, and when I say the phenomena, I mean all weird shit. All of it.
Horn light and everything.
Horn light and everything. Man legs, you get it. Yeah. it could appear different to everyone. And I think the inconsistencies weren't really that big of a deal. It was like one kid said they had kind of whitish gray beards. Another said they had black beards. Who knows?
Oh, right. Who gives a shit about that?
A few of the kids said they thought the gnomes were friendly and just playing. And that some of the other kids were like, I was really scared of the gnomes.
But that's the way kids are. Some kids, like, you're pull a prank. Some kids will get scared and some kids are having fun.
Exactly. There was a brief media frenzy about all of this, but after that, the gnome fever seemed to die down and this story faded into obscurity. There's one title of the article, and I'll try and share this picture if I can find it, where it goes, Gnomeo, wherefore art thou? Wherefore art thou? Now, let's be clear, that's a mistranslation, and since Shakespeare came from England, what the fuck is wrong with your journalists?
Right.
Wherefore art thou means, why are you, Romeo? Meaning, why are you my enemy? That's what she meant.
Well, has anyone talked to these gnome kids since they're an adult?
Yes. So a researcher found one of the boys involved who knew one of the boys involved. So kind of secondhand information. And this man said that the kid said he made it up.
The kid said he made it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, who knows? Maybe it's just like, man, the media frenzy was intense and I don't want to talk about gnomes. I'm 50 years old.
Right.
Yeah. So who knows? So in my research, though, there had been previous accounts of gnome sightings in that park way before 1979 and way after, too.
Okay.
And I feel like even if they did make it up, enough people thought about it that now there are gnomes
It's like
there.
a tulpa or something.
A thought form, if you will. Indeed. So that's gnome stories, and I want to know if any of y'all out there have ever seen a fucking gnome.
Or a fairy or anything.
Or anything, like not a ghost or an alien or a Bigfoot or a cryptid. I want to know if anybody's seen a fairy.
Right.
Because gnomes go into the fairy category.
Yeah.
Or have you seen a red cat, like that terrible little dancing man I saw?
Right.
And that gave me the creeps. Have you seen a cat with a face of a man?
Did we ever tell that story properly? Because
We have several
there
times.
have been several witnesses.
Yeah, Willow's husband, Travis, saw it.
Well, our old roommate saw it, and they were all independent of each other and didn't know
Yes.
each other's story.
That is correct, and they described the same thing.
They described the same thing, yeah.
Angela, the lady who stayed with us for a while, she would smoke out on our deck, and she would hear it pacing underneath the deck
That's really fucked
and
up.
making a little trilling, purring kind of noise.
I personally have never had man-faced cat encounter, whether it be sound or visual. That doesn't bother me. I don't have it. I don't see it.
You don't need to see it.
Well, I believe y'all because
I know you do.
The people that reported seeing it are non-believer people.
Except me, yeah. But Travis is like an atheist or whatever. He doesn't
Yeah.
believe in anything.
But he saw a man-faced cat.
Indeed. How do you reconcile stuff like that as an atheist? I'm just curious. I'm not criticizing.
I think people just sort of write it off as, no, I didn't, I didn't see that.
I mean, that's how I react when I see weird stuff. I'm like, because I know that it'll follow me home and ruin things. Like hide my car keys and give me nightmares, and I'll wake up with scratches, that kind of thing. Like it'll open all my cabinets. That's annoying, by the way.
I just usually think that's children. Open up all the cabinets.
You'd think so, but remember that one time we were in the kitchen in the Tulsa house?
That was one time in the Tulsa house.
Yeah, and all the cabinets were closed, and we turned around like a split second later, they were all open.
My face was down. I was looking at the counter, just sort of thinking, for 1 second, I look up and all of them are open.
Yeah, it was weird.
But, and that was literally in the split second between glancing down and looking up.
I think fairies are way scarier than ghosts. Ghosts don't do shit except open some fucking cabinets and rustle a curtain. But I feel like fairies can literally fuck you up.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I personally have not been bothered by no fairies.
They just think maybe you're one of them because you're small. Oh. You think so?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
I've tricked them.
Oh, I don't know if I'd say that out loud.
No.
They're like,
no.
bet, and then come at you. Yeah. Yeah, but that's it. That's my gnome encounters. I mean, I could have included 20. There are so many gnome stories. Go on to Reddit and search for gnome, and you're just going to be like, wow, a lot of people have seen a gnome.
Have they fucked them up?
No, they're always very elusive, but they're always mean as shit.
Oh.
Like this idea of a little rosy-cheeked mini Santa Claus, that's not it.
Yeah.
They're just grubby little turds.
Just pulling up all your flowers.
He did. He pulled up all the zinnias my dad just planted, and he blamed me. And I had to replant all of them. I cursed the gnome that day.
Good. Fuck that
I
little
was
man.
like, ain't no David the gnome motherfucker up in here, little shit.
Ruining your garden.
Dirt at me. I was just
Do you
trying
think
to
it
say hello.
disproportionately bothers people in the UK, or?
I think there's lots of fairy shit anywhere there's nature.
Okay.
That's just my belief.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I've lived that there's nature, I've had some kind of weird fairy encounter. Like forest spirits type of deal. I don't think they like cities, but I think they can be in them.
Yeah.
I just don't think they like them as good.
Well, cities suck.
They do. They're stinky.
They're stinking.
But yes, now it's time for business time.
Business time.
Why'd you say it so scary?
Because it's a gnome episode.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I make soap,
Yeah.
which the gnome I saw could have definitely used.
So if
He
you
looked
ever
quite dirty.
run into a gnome and
Throw a
get
bar
very
of soap
dirty,
at it. Yeah,
you can use your soap.
that's right. I have only one Mother's Day gift set left.
Dang.
Yes. I had a whole bunch and I have sold out. And I would recommend ordering it this week if you want it to arrive in time for your mommy. And there's extras and freebies included in this gift set.
Right.
There's lots of cute stuff for your mom. It is gift wrapped.
You put a gnome in there.
I can put a gnome in there that will jump out at your mother and flip her off and then run away and eat her goldfish.
Right. And probably moon you with his little butt.
I'd never want to see it. No. Keep your butt away from me, little gnome man. No, but in all seriousness, I do pack it full of little extras and trinkets and cute stuff that your mom will like. Why? Because I like it and I'm a mom.
Dang.
That's how I know. And for our listeners, use code CRUEL, CRUEL, in the coupon box and get 10% off.
Yeah.
And I have a flat rate of $5 shipping on every order. So, save yourself some money and
Unless
some
you're
time.
outside of the U.S.
Oh, I do not ship outside of the United States. I will message me, basically.
It's a pain in the ass, and it's expensive.
You're gonna have to
cool
pay
with that.
If you're cool that it's expensive, you can message me and I will ship literally anywhere in the world. We have a Patreon. We have many tiers for every budget, starting as low as $1, going all the way up to $100. We have lots of cool things you can get on our Patreon. And we are now doing early access to episodes. You will get them 1 to 2 days before everybody else. That's pretty neat. And we have a bonus episode that's just for patrons every week. And we do kind of post-episode discussions called And That's the Tea, where we're silly. So please go check that out. All of these links will be in our link tree. Don't be scared.
And our art and our writing, because we make paintings and books.
Yeah, and they're horny, the books. They have a lot of sex in them.
horny books. There could even be a gnome in there. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. In one of mine, there is.
See, there is.
Well, there's a pisky, which is a type of gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they liked sewing gold coins onto their pants.
Sounds jingly.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the gnome's name is Shiny Shanks, and that's
No,
pretty
Shiny
funny.
Shanks.
Exactly, it's ridiculous. Anyway, you can go do that. Also, our Discord is not behind a paywall, so please come in there. Show me what you made for dinner. Show me your kids, and show me your dogs, and your cats, and your snakes, and your rats, and whatever else.
Yeah.
Do you make crafts? I want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not? I don't care. Just come in there and talk. It's really fun. We have a lot of people in there, so basically just about any time of day there is someone to talk to.
Yeah, if you're a gnome, go in there. I'll talk to you.
Maris is a gnome enthusiast.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anytime you want to look at case photos, go to our Patreon. Those are all public posts. You don't have to pay to see them. I didn't take the pictures. I shouldn't get paid for them, so you can just go look. And download show notes if you're bored. I don't know why you'd want to.
People do it. They look at them notes.
I keep forgetting to stick them up there, but I've been better about it, so you can go look. Because I never would care.
No, but some people are very serious.
I just put it up there for transparency where I get my research.
Right.
Because you don't want to be a cunt about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, everything's in our link tree, even our merch. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have stickers, all that good stuff.
You could just tip us if you want to do that. Coffee.
Yeah, if you're like, you know what, the gnome talk made me chuckle, and you want to buy me and Merris a coffee, you can go to my coffee account, or you can just go to my PayPal. I don't give a shit. You can message me and say, I don't understand how any of that works. Help me, and I will help you. Give me money.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But other than that, if all you can do to support this podcast is listen, well, I appreciate you and love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell your friend, though.
Isn't it weird to have someone you don't know go, I love you? Isn't it a little creepy?
Yeah.
It is. I mean it that way, too. I mean it the same way the gnome means...
Sexual way, yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean it creepy, not sexual.
She wants to make out with you guys.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Wow, Merris, consent is very important.
She wants to do it.
Oh my God. No, I mean it in the same way I've eaten your goldfish in your yard and I'm going, ugh. That's how I mean it.
Oh.
You have to live under the house now with a man-faced cat.
We're buds. We're roomies.
You and Paul, yeah. Anyway, I am now going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Find us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all of the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Libby.